Welcome to the InHer Circle podcast with MsHoliness, bringing you a dose of inspiration from the ground to greatness, starting now.
Welcome, people of purpose. This is the InHer Circle podcast, episode 3, entitled Build It Better. I am MsHoliness, and I am so happy that you decided to tune in with me for a dose of inspiration. But before we get started, we're just going to have a recap of last week's episode. I just want to do a recap of episode 2 entitled Do It Anyway. Yes, we talked about doing it anyway, fulfilling the purpose that has been placed down on the inside of you, no matter what come, will, or may. So make sure that you are endeavoring, people of purpose, to get it done and to do it anyway. So as I first stated, our talk for today is entitled Build It Better. So I know we always like to talk from the adage of build it again. Okay. You're like, okay, so it didn't work out, so build it again. But no, I don't want you to just build it again. I don't want the thing that you're building right here, right now in this season to look anything like anything that you built in the past. But as a matter of fact, I want you to build it better. I want for this new vision to look like nothing that anyone has seen to date in your life. When it comes to you bringing visions to fruition, I want it to look like something that was challenging. I want it to look like something that seemed almost impossible. But nevertheless, you possessed enough prowess, strength, and ability to get it done, You honed in and did what it took to get it done. That's what I want it to look like. I want it to look like that you conquered an impossible situation. The kind of situation where it looked like you needed everything and everybody, all hands on deck to get it done. But that you realized that you had everything that you needed on the inside to build it better in this season. So what am I talking about when I'm talking about building something better? So, for instance, if you started a business in last season, let's say you started a hair company and first few weeks sales was popping. First few weeks the sales were great. They were through the roof. And then over time sales began to dwindle, whether it was marketing or whatever the case may have been. But in this season, I want you to find a better way to reproduce that same dream that you were building and build it better. Go out here and find you some great marketing strategies. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Get connected to the right people and get in front of the right people with your product so that in this season, when you build it, it won't look nothing like it did in last season. And this time it won't fail and it won't falter. See, the importance when building dreams is to make sure that you have a fail-safe plan. And though there's not really any such thing as a fail-safe plan, you want to make the plan as safe as possible from failing. So you want to make sure that you essentially weigh all of the odds and factor in everything, all of the cost, all of the time, all of the attention that is going to need to be able to build this dream to the degree that you need to build it to in order that it come forth in excellence. Because we as people of purpose are all about doing things in excellence. So like for me, whenever I embark on a venture, I kind of look at the pros, the cons. I look at the big picture, okay? Whenever I'm endeavoring to build something from the ground to good, from good to great, from great to greatness, I look at everything that has to go into making that thing a great product or a great service. Because I always want to, like I say, deliver stuff to you in excellence. So I'm not just up here pushing product out. I'm not just up here pushing services out. Okay, so I'm not a novice at whatever I try my hand to. I make sure that I study and that I'm learned and that I possess enough tact and skill to be able to tackle that thing to the degree where it's successful when I begin to embark upon it. And that's how we should all be endeavoring to do things when we're attempting to build a thing. And in this case, when we're attempting to build better in this season than we built in seasons past. It's just time to do things differently in order to see different results. So we have all heard of that saying and that adage. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, how about if you keep doing the same thing over and over again that seemingly failed in last season, you're going to get the same results from last season. It's going to produce failure. And we don't want you to continuously fail forward. It's okay to fail forward at first in order to find your bearings and in order to become more skilled and refined at what it is that you're failing forward in. But we don't want to continuously keep failing forward season after season with the endeavors. We don't. Okay? You don't want to be a perpetual novice. At some point, not only do you have to become an expert, but you have to want to become an expert in order to calm the market in which you're endeavoring to dive into. So it's fine that you're going to do it anyway and you're taking that leap. But when you take the leap, you always want to leap in excellence. It's that excellence for me. It's always going to be excellence for me. I don't like anything mediocre. I think that when we all do things, we should give it all that we got on the inside of us. We shouldn't half do a thing. Half doing it is just as good as not doing it. You know how they say nothing beats a failure but a try? You know something that outdoes not trying, and that's half doing it. That's worse than not endeavoring to try at all. It has the same similitude and connotation. It's kind of like if you ain't going to do it right, don't do it at all. If you ain't going to give it all you got, then don't give it. Because it's not going to give what it's supposed to be giving at the end of the day. If you don't give it your all. You hear what I'm saying to you? But now we're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
And now a word from our sponsors. Nerd Boy Rich Clothing for your hottest urban streetwear. MHW Creations, servicing all your literary needs. And Ace the Weave Doctor, hair extensions done right. For sponsorship opportunities, inquire within. And now back to the program.
So that was a word from our sponsors. And we are here again talking about building it better. Yes, build it better. So in this season, I need for all of us as the wonderful people of purpose who are endeavoring to build a thing, to build it to a degree that we have never built from before. Have any of you ever attempted to launch something and you were just so excited? You were just sure that this thing was going to take off. You were just sure that this thing was going to take off and that it was going to do what it needed to do. And when it didn't, you were sorely disappointed. It could have just, maybe been the lack of support from your friends, your family, your frenemies, or it could have just been that you weren't thoroughly researched, invested in the idea. Like, yeah, you had a great idea, but you didn't thoroughly put the amount of time and effort in it to make sure that you brought the vision to fruition and completion. Like, you have to not only start things, but you have to endeavor to follow things through to completion to make sure that when you do in fact produce it, that you're producing your very best work. Because in essence, it's a reflection of you. So if your brand fails, in essence, people are not just looking at the brand, they're looking at you who's attached to the brand. And, in some cases, that can be bad for business because people will associate you with failure. And you never want to be associated with failure. But in instances where you have been associated with failure because of past failed ventures, okay, I want you to come back again in this season and do it way big. Let me hear you say way big. Do it way big and dispel all of the misconceptions and misgivings that people had concerning you because of your previous failed venture. Let them know that not only are you showing up in this season, but that you're showing up in excellence and that you're going to show out and that your venture will be a success and that everything that you put your hands to will succeed right here, right now. And that's what it's going to do, and it ain't going to do nothing different. So with that being said, right now, I just want to segue over into today's hot button topic, okay? Now, this is a hot topic. We're talking about Juneteenth, okay? 155 years past due, government finally took it upon themselves to make this a federal holiday. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? 155 years later. So at that, my only question is, can we get $155 trillion worth of reparations to go with it or no? And I'm asking for myself. Like, I'm not too sold on the idea that they just presented this into law, making it a federal holiday. Like, yeah, all well and fine. Yay. Yay. Yeah. But what I would like to see is for them to send out some reparations. I'm not talking about no PPP loans. I'm not talking pandemic unemployment. Like they think everybody's just living off this stuff. Black people, they think black people, people of color, are just striving and surviving off of PPP and PUA. Some people did have a great come up off of that, but that has not been the masses, the majority of us. But what I would like to see is for them to give reparations to all people of color who are descendants of slaves. I think it's owed to us, not just this enactment into law for a measly holiday, okay, 155 years later. Okay, so what this is saying to me is that after 155 years, America finally wants to acknowledge that they kept us enslaved past the date that we were supposed to be emancipated, set free. All right. And the fact that some of you are overjoyed, okay? Yeah. So the fact that some of you are overjoyed that this has even become law to a degree speaks about the enslavement that people are still in their minds. Like, this is not a victory lap. This shouldn't even be celebrated. Clap on that. Should not be celebrated. Not needed. What we need is some do, re, mi, send me some money and some dough. We need some dough. We need that dough. They really need to compensate us for the setback. All right. Slavery set us back. And not only has slavery set us back, but segregation and Jim Crow and everything else to follow has set us back. Systemically, we have been set back. Okay. So it's just kind of like, this all we getting after 155 years? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm going to need a little bit more. I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to need a little bit more. Yes, a little bit more. Cash and carry, please. Cash and carry me, please. And thank you. Well, that concludes our talk for today. Thank you for joining me for episode 3 of the InHer Circle podcast entitled Build It Better. With questions and comments, please feel free to text 484-393-2730, keyword the InHer Circle podcast live. To connect with the InHer Circle podcast, follow us on Twitter at the InHer Circle, on Instagram at the InHer Circle _podcast, and on Facebook at the InHer Circle podcast. For sponsorship opportunities, email us at the InHer Circle podcast at gmail.com. Well, this is MsHoliness signing out. I look forward to you joining me for the next episode where I aspire to lift you higher.